hey, what's going on? So Crimson Desert just rolled out version 1.1.00, and this one is the kind of update that makes a game feel a little more polished, a little faster, and a lot more comfortable to play without changing the core feel of it. One of the first things that stands out is the new mount content, because this is the kind of addition players immediately feel in moment-to-moment exploration. The patch adds 5 new mounts that can be obtained after meeting certain conditions, including legendary animals like the White Bear, Silver Fang, and Snow White Deer, plus boss mounts like the Rock Tusk Warthog and Icicle Edge Alpine Ibex. That alone gives the world a little more personality and makes traversal feel more rewarding, especially for players who love collecting unusual ride options as they move through Pywell. On top of that, the notice says towns are fine with these tamed animals, so the fantasy of riding them around the world is very much part of the update's charm. The quality of life side of this patch is honestly just as important as the headline features. There are chests containing materials spread throughout Pywell, a new refinement coin item that lets equipment be tempered up to stage 4 without using extra materials, and a Make Now function in cooking and crafting that removes the extra step of selecting ingredients separately once a recipe is chosen. There's also a new Store All Selected Items option that sends inventory items straight to private storage, plus a moved storage chest in Howling Hill Camp that now sits inside Cliff's tent instead of behind Carl. These are the kinds of changes that might not sound huge at first, but in actual play they save time over and over again, which is exactly what a good systems patch should do. There are also a bunch of changes that make everyday world interactions feel less clunky. Shop knowledge can now be learned for all items sold in shops at once, and it only takes 3 seconds, which is a big change if you have ever felt dragged down by repeated menu work. Locked doors now show an interaction button so you can choose whether to use a key. Wells now give 5 units of water at once, and pets are meant to stay closer during combat, while also fixing cases where they could not loot properly. Mining and lumbering get some love too, because the mining knuckle drill and Demonisian chainsaw now let you collect materials immediately, which makes gathering loops feel much more responsive. The Knowledge Helm, Pirate King hat, and other exploration tools also got adjustments, and the game even expands what happens when you are already at the 240 slot inventory cap by turning extra expansion rewards into boxes with materials and items instead of just wasting the reward. The combat and movement section is where the patch starts sounding especially ambitious. Movement for both the player and horse has been adjusted so sprinting feels more intuitive, flight has been made easier to use, stamina cost has been reduced, and that awkward pause before taking off has been fixed. You can now use equipped gear while flying, and there's also a fix for flight not activating in certain situations. Aerial stab has been reworked too because the developers say it had an unintended mid-air repeat issue. Now it is still meant to feel fun and mobile, but with stamina costs that rise each time you keep using it. Aerial maneuver and aerial swing both use less stamina now, which should make air movement feel less punishing overall. A lot of the combat tuning seems aimed at making the game more readable and less frustrating in fast fights. There are weak point indicators for each element, bosses and enemies were adjusted so they do not instantly swing right after death, and revival and meteor kick was fixed so it cannot be fired in midair when there is no reachable ground. Weapons can now be drawn using the unsheath key, and the game now shows that key guide during combat, which should make the control scheme feel cleaner. There are also keyboard and mouse specific improvements like selling items by double-clicking in shops, selecting and using inventory items with clicks instead of hover, and a precise control feature for Axiom Force that lets you move objects more carefully by holding Q or the mouse back button while moving the mouse. That is a lot of fine-tuning, but together it points to the same goal. Make the controls feel more direct, less awkward, and easier to trust in the middle of a fight or puzzle sequence. Quest players get their own set of fixes too, and these matter because a lot of frustration in a game like this comes from progress getting stuck in weird ways. The liberation sequence now transitions more smoothly. The prologue quest, New Journey, no longer risks blocking progress if you attack Sebastian in a certain way. Chapter 2's Missing Companion no longer loses the delivery target mid-quest, and Chapter 3's Dance with the Devil has been fixed so destroying totems should reduce the count correctly. On top of that, the team added more guide prompts wherever the game had been too vague. That kind of support makes the whole adventure feel more stable, because players should be spending their attention on the world, not wrestling with unclear objectives or broken steps.